This conference will now be recorded.
Hi guys, good evening. This is Suresh here.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening guys, good evening one and all. Okay, so guys, in our session till last Friday, we have been discussing on multiple business rules. So apart from the workflow derivation and the event driven derivation, so the various other instances where the business rules can be used. So what are the different event types? That might be a rule written at portlet level or a rule written at a feed level. For the concept of propagation, how the rules look like. Okay, for raising some error messages, for performing some calculations, or auto-populating the data in the fields, and for playing with the visibility of the fields. If you want to dynamically change the visibility of the fields, all this various combinations examples is what we have been looking at. So in that continuation, and in the business rules part, one more the last example that we are required to cover is the alerts part. Whenever, as I just mentioned at the end of the Friday session, whenever if a customer is expecting to have some alerts based on some dates, based on some end date, expiry date, okay, due date, based on some alerts, then we can make use of the business rules. So the common requirements of the alerts will be whenever an employee hiring is being done, we can have a probation end date. So if you are hired on 1st of January, if the company follows 6 months probation period, that means 30th of June is your probation end date. By 30th of June, customer has to take a decision. Company has to take a decision whether to confirm your employment or to terminate you or to extend your probation, kind of. So 15 days before the probation end date or 1 week before the probation end date, kind of, the customers will expect to have some reminders sent to the HR department, so that HR department will consult all the parties and make a decision whether the probation has to be confirmed or not. Okay, so first, that is one kind of a requirement. Apart from that, whenever we maintain some different kinds of visas, employee work permits, and driving license documents or any passport documents, kind of, if we maintain, we can have an expiry date of those documents maintained, visa expiry date, passport expiry date, and even on that we can have some alerts triggered 1 month before, 15 days before, kind of. So such kind of scenarios is a pretty common requirement in any HR product. Not only success factors, any HR product. These are the common requirements that the customers would be expecting. So the system has to remind us about those expiries. Okay. So that regard we'll be looking at now. So before that, any specific questions anyone has from the previous topics, guys? So here under employee profile, so basically under the employee profile, we have a section called work permit info, guys. So this work permit info is a portlet in which country wise what are the different work permit documents this employee has that can be maintained. As I told previously also, like any work visas, employment visas, work permits of different countries can be maintained here. So any country visa work permits that you maintain, you will have the visa number, that is the document number, the issue date, issue place, issuing authority, expiry date. This is the one, expiry date, a very important one, based on which we can trigger the reminder emails. So 10 days before the expiry, 15 days before the expiry, or 1 month before, we can trigger the alerts from the success factor system. Okay, so for that config to work, guys, we need to make use of business rules. Okay, so let me take an employee for whom there are some records already maintained in this portlet. Let me just see Alex, I think he has some data. So here Under work permit info, here we have this data. So Singapore, this employee Alex represents Singapore as a Singapore employee. So Singapore driving license is one. So we have multiple documents that can be maintained actually, where there are, I guess, around 3 documents maintained. As a Singapore employee, the driver license document, employment pass, like this. Few other things were also there. Some UNID of Singapore, work permit of Singapore, like this. So driver license is one maintained. Next, employment pass is one maintained, and some Singapore UNID. Like this, 3 records are maintained. For all of them, there are some expiry dates. Okay. So for these, system has to trigger the alerts. So where these are from 15, 16, 17, which are already crossed actually. We already crossed the dates. Let us update them. Say if I keep it to some other forwarded dates, somewhere in the first week of April or something, we can do it. So let me just keep it as the first record. Today is 22nd, right? Let me keep it to 1st of April as one record, 2nd of April as one record, 3rd as April, 2nd of April, and 3rd of April. So I'm just maintaining 3 records with first week. So who any of these getting expired soon, system has to send me the reminder emails. Okay, like this we have maintained these records. Now whenever we are required to have this kind of alerts to be triggered, the business rule is what we'll be building, and the business rule will be assigned to that portlet. So here in the work permit portlet, when we write the business rule, guys, so this is a portlet, we will assign it using the event type as save alert. So this is a save alert as one more event type, where we have used only the first 3 events the previous sessions. Save alert is an event that you are required to use, which is available only at a portlet level, and assign this rule here. So that rule will contain the logic. Okay, so the rule so this is how the rule contains a logic, where if the expiry date is not equal to null, that means there is some date given in the expiry date field. Okay, and if that expiry date is 10 days from today, so 10 days, date plus means today's date. For today's date there are 10 days you are adding. So 22nd of March, 10 days if you add, it will become either 2nd of April or 1st of April, because March is 31 days, right? So 1st or 2nd of April it falls. So any document that is going to expire in the system with the date of expiry as 1st of April or 2nd of April tentatively, so then the system has to alert regarding that documents what are going to be expired to that respective HR of the company or manager of a company, manager of that employee, whoever. So this is how it will check the condition. If the expiry date is not blank, that means there is some value, and that value, if it is equal to 10 days from today's date, so whenever I run the program, so there will be a program that runs in the background. So whenever that program runs, this business rule will be triggered first of all. So when this business rule is triggered, system will check effective from this today 10 days. In next 10 days, anything is going to expire. So that documents it will highlight to the users. So for that, gentlemen, we need to have alert message. Alert messages. So what is the alert that will be sent to the users, that HR or manager or even employee himself, whomever it will be notifying. So that we call the content what should come in that email, that reminder email, that can be maintained as an alert message. The way for throwing some error messages, we have kept the message definitions. We will have alert message as something. So I'll just show you. So here, if you go for manage data, so last time, just to throw an error message regarding the age of employment of employees, the way we worked on a message definition as an object, you have an other object called alert message, MDF object, alert message. This is the one. So there are multiple alert messages that are triggered in the system, that are configured in the system. Okay, so say work permit related, work permit alert, this is the one. So here you have the work permit alert as the name. For that text what should go, so employee the whatever is the employee, that employee name will be automatically auto-populated using a token subject user. So employee Suresh, employee Ramesh, whatever his work permit is about to expire in 10 days is the text what will be coming to the respective people whom you are throwing the error message. So the subject will be just simply as work permit expiry notification. In the body, it will be clearly mentioning the name of the person, employee Suresh, work permit is about to expire in 10 days, like this. So this will be the text that you can configure. So here it is the default text, and here it is along with the translations. You have a translation so options in multiple languages you can maintain. Here it is a default. That's the only difference. Okay, so this way we can maintain the alert text. So on the right hand side here, create new, you can go for create new alert message. You can go for alert message, give some name and code to your message, and whatever text you want you can enter in it. So that text what you enter is what that is going to be called in the email. The header is nothing but called as the subject, and description is nothing but the body of that message what is going to be triggered. Okay, so in that regard we already have a work permit as an alert message, guys. So this will be basically triggered to the users, when to the target people. It's not the employee only. If you say HR of the employee should be notified, HR will receive. If manager of the employee should be notified, then the manager will receive this content. That is first prerequisite is we need to have a alert message even before you write a business rule. So in the business rule, what message text you want to trigger, first create that message. Okay, so once that message is there, so in the business rule, now to whom it has to be notified is one more thing you should be ready with. What should be notified, when should be notified, to whom should be notified. So what should be notified is the message you just created. When should be notified is, so effective day, alert effective date as today. That is whenever this rule is being executed, on that day itself it has to be executed, that email. So effective date we'll keep it as today itself as a default function. So whenever rule is being triggering, on that day itself it will be executed. And the last one is workflow information. Why is workflow coming in here is that, so the target person to whom you want to have this notification be sent, guys, we are required to call him through the workflow objects. So there is a workflow object as manager in the system. So where do we find workflows, guys? Anyone? Where can I find workflows in SuccessFactors Employee Central? Hello, guys. Is my audio audible to you all clearly?
Manage org and page of structures.
Excellent, Navin. That's our job page structures. Because workflow is a foundation object. We have created workflow in the manage org job page structure, that address change workflow. So in the same place, we have a workflow in the name of manager that is called in that rule. So manager as a workflow that has been called. So if you select that, you will see what is it present in this. It says the first level approver is maintained as manager, and CC role is also maintained as manager. Okay, so this manager which is maintained with an approver and CC role is being called in the workflow as workflow information manager. Why are we actually calling it is to have the approval trigger, to have the alert trigger to this particular person. Whenever the employee's document is going to expire in 10 days, the employee manager has to be notified. So for that, we created a workflow in the name of manager, and in that we kept the first level person as manager and CC role also as a manager. That is, if you want only email to be triggered out of the system, out of the SuccessFactors system, only email to be triggered, maintaining CC role is enough, guys. If you maintain somebody in the CC role and you call that workflow in the business rule, whoever is maintained in the CC role, they will be notified about that alert. If you maintain in the step one also, it will come and appear in the to-do list of that person. So you are notified saying that your subordinate's document is going to expire in 10 days. It's not just an information to you. You are supposed to take some action on it to make sure that is renewed in time. So that is a to-do item for you. We can maintain it. So like that, as a manager, is for it's a to-do item we have maintained, and a CC role level we also maintained to make sure that he'll be notified 10 days prior to the expiry. So this way you can create your one workflow object, and that can be called in the business rule in the name of alert workflow information, and you call it. So whenever the expiry date is not blank and that expiry date is 10 days from now, then what message to be triggered, when it should be, when it has to be triggered, to whom it has to be triggered, is what you maintain like this. So once we maintain this rule, once you write this rule has to be assigned to that relevant portlet in the manage business configuration, in the portlet level, work permit portlet, save alert as an event type. There you are required to link that rule. Okay, so this rule will be triggered whenever there is some background job running on, guys. So there are, here you have one save alert rule. So in different portlets there might be different rules. How will system know that within next 10 days this employee's document is going to expire? Okay, say example, employee was hired in month of January. Okay, now in the month of December, something of that employee is going to expire. There is nobody visited employee record, nobody is working on employee record, but suddenly system has triggered that email. That means system is background checking continuously. Continuously system is checking the data in the background. Whenever it found that something is going to expire in next 10 days, it is triggering it. So for that kind of alerts to be triggered, guys, in the provisioning system, we have one background job to be scheduled. The way, okay, you guys haven't seen that other thing yet. We'll discuss going further. So normally in the provisioning system, we have a location where we will be able to schedule one program. There is a standard success factors program in the provisioning system. We just have to schedule it to run continuously once in every day, so that they can have these alerts related emails triggered to the respective participants. So let me just log in and show you what is that job. It's a standard program. We need not do any configuration there. We just have to schedule it. So whenever, whether it has to run every day in the early morning 6 o'clock or midnight 3 a.m. okay, or it's or in the office hours like around afternoon 12 p.m. whatever, we can schedule it. So here I logged into the provisioning system of this customer. So where you just click on the hyperlink of the company name and enter into the company specific page. In this, till now, employee central means company settings level, the very first one, that is a place where we have seen whatever activations that can be done, the basic activations when you start the project, when you got the access to the provisioning system, minimum things what to be activated we saw. And going down under succession management, the data models where we are required to import we saw. Only this we saw in provisioning. But if you go more down, you have a place where job scheduler as a section will be available. Managing job scheduler. Under this, the first one, manage scheduled jobs, is the option that you are required to go, where you can schedule a job to execute once in every 24 hours. So manage scheduled jobs, go for this. And here, this UI, you know that provisioning UI is not such a rich UI. So here in this scheduled jobs page, on the left hand side on the top, you have a small create new job as a hyperlink, guys. The one that I highlighted here, create new job, a small hyperlink. When you just click on it, so when you click on it, here you will find a page where you can select the job, what you want to trigger automatically continuously in the background. So that is, here there are multiple different kinds of jobs that will be coming in the drop down. That's not specific to employee central, guys. Multiple modules of success factors related, multiple background jobs that should be keep on executing in the background will be present over here. Okay, so here if you see, the list is very huge. That is doesn't mean that we are going to schedule all these things. Okay, 90 to 95% of the things are already there in the background and they keep running already. We need not manually come and explicitly schedule it. But in employee central, we have two things that we are required to schedule. In these many things, for easy, two things to be scheduled. So one is what we are now going to look towards. That is, we have something as EC alerts and notifications, guys. A job called EC alerts and notifications. This one. This is the job that you are required to select. Okay, so this job has to be executed continuously is what you are required to select, and you are required to give the details, like for this background job that you're going to schedule, some name. Okay, some name as alerts underscore March 22nd. Job owner, who is the owner of the job? So the job owner, so some admin ID, so I just give it as SF admin. Okay, and here you are required to choose the occurrence part. So when it has to occur, that is recurring. Every day or every once in a week or once in a month is every content. And when it should be triggered. So midnight at 1 a.m. or early morning 5 a.m. or morning 10 a.m., 12 p.m. like that, you can choose the time when it has to schedule, when it has to be executed every day. So after you choosing that daily at that point of time, then the start date, from which date you want me to start this background scheduling process. Obviously we'll schedule it from the date of go live. So if today 22nd of March is a go live, from today date itself I'll schedule it. Okay, and here the date format should be US English format, guys. So it's mm/dd/YYYY. This is the way you're required to give the start date, and end date you need not give anything, leave it blank. So that is, so this program keeps on running every day, years together. How many days customers will use this SF system, those many years it will have be executed in the background. And normally when you schedule this job, and this job is actually going to be triggered every day, example at afternoon 12 o'clock, it hardly takes 3 minutes or 4 minutes to process this. So after the processing, by 12:05 or 12:06 max, the person who is maintained as the owner will be receiving an acknowledgement email about the status of this job. The job has been executed successfully, or whatever any errors, that log will be this person. Apart from this person, if you want alert to be sent to anybody else, you can give the additional email recipients as a section here. So if you enter some additional email IDs, just you can hard code email IDs just with a comma separated. Separated by commas is an option you have. You just enter multiple other email IDs, just comma separated. Then system will send that notification, that log email to even those additional people. And one more thing is, only once the processing is completed, say 12 o'clock you have scheduled, it started running from 12 o'clock, it took 3 minutes or 4 minutes, 12:03, 12:04. After the completion only, normally the email will be sent, the log email. Whereas if you also want the email to be triggered when the job started execution, send email when job starts. If you select this checkbox, exactly at 12 o'clock when the program started, you will first receive an email, and by 12:04, 12:05 when the job processing is completed, one more email. Okay, so that this will be useful basically to estimate the progress of the file, whether it is going good or not. Sometimes you get the starting you get the starting email, you don't get the log email after 20 minutes, 30 minutes also. That means you can understand that there is something wrong going on. So program started, but it has not yet ended yet. It has been 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You can go and check what's the issue. So that way you have an option to even send an email when the job starts as well. So filling all these details, self-explanatory, nothing complex, just the job name, owner, the alerts and notifications as a job type, occurrence as recurring every day, whatever time you want, and the dates and the email IDs. Maintaining all this, if you create this job, here if you click on create job, guys, on the right hand bottom corner, when you click on create job, this job will be created and you have to submit it. Until you submit it, it will not execute, guys. Even it's kind of a save as draft kind of, when you keep it as just create. If you have done it, is kind of a save as draft. Only when you submit, system will be scheduling as per that in the background, and it will be processing. Okay, so every time the date should be the next date, it will not allow the same date, the current date. If you say, it will not allow you. You are required to give the next date. So it's submitted. Okay, so now whenever that exact time, so 20 on 23rd, which is at 12 p.m., it will trigger that rule. That rule will check for all the employees in next 10 days whatever are the documents that are going to be expired. So for whichever employees that are going to expire, for that employee's reporting manager is where the email will be sent from the SuccessFactors system, guys. So this is a one-time activity. In the configurations we maintain this. One time we maintain in the provisioning system, we schedule it. That's it. So that keeps on running every day once in 24 hours. So now if I run it manually, I don't want to wait till that 12 p.m. I can also manually run for once. So run it now. If I click on this, the system will process this, where once the running is happening across the SuccessFactors system, wherever there is any rule against this event type, save alert, either against work permit portlet or job info portlet or any other portlet, wherever using this alert type, save alert as the event type, if there is any rule present, all such rules will be executed. In that rules, whatever are the logics that will be calculated, as per that calculations met, so whatever emails are to be triggered, system will trigger. So now the job has been triggered, guys. So here now that user, to whomever you have set the email has to be triggered, that person will be receiving the email. So in the workflow object, we have maintained manager has to be notified. So our test case is LX. So LX manager. So LX manager is Adre Akin. So Adre Akin is a lady where she will receive an email notification. So for Adre Akin, if you go for her profile, okay, there is some other email ID maintained here. I thought I already maintained my email ID. Some other mail ID is maintained. Anyways, so normally to her email ID it has to go, but we don't have access to this mail ID, something at western.com. We don't have access. But we also kept one more config. So not only on email, you can, one second, not only on email, you can also find it on the to-do list, because we have kept manager also as an approver. So if we proxy into AdRaking, we'll be able to find the to-do item saying that this document is going to be expired, because there is a document within next 10 days that is going to expire for Mr. LX. So under this work permits portlet, we have kept some documents. April 1st one is expiring, April 2nd one is expiring, like this. So from today, if you have taken 10 days, either April 2nd one or April 1st one, system has to pick up. So now let me just proxy into AdRaking, and let's see in her to-do list, will that alert item will come or not. So in the take action, you see this, guys? Just a moment. So here under take action, there are 3 alerts, out of which one will be the one that has been triggered just now, work permit expiry notification for LX. So employee LX work permit is about to expire soon. So these two actually came last time when I done in another batch, but this latest one is the one that has been triggered now, work permit expiry notification for LX. So when such notification has been brought up on the to-do list, that person can visit the employee profile. So whatever updates have to be done, any expiry dates, extensions should be done. So it's not just simply to update the data. So to going to that government websites and extending the employee's visa or work permit, whatever from the employer side, what they have to do, submitting those documents, all that they do. Once it is extended, the HR or the concerned person who has received that update, they has to come and update the latest expiry date. Instead of April 1st, it should be April 1st, 2022 or 2023, whatever. If you want to update, you can make that updates and save it. Whenever you feel your responsibility has been done, you can mark that activity as completed. So I'll just keep it as I am done. So that item will be removed from your list. Okay. And to also show it to you in the system, guys, we just have to update the email address. I'll just change the email address quickly and show you. We have it already maintained here. It's not synchronized. One moment. Just a moment, guys. I'm just running some refresh in the background. Even this, what I'm running also, you will get to know in next couple of sessions. Just give me a moment, please.
Hello.
Yeah, guys. Okay, sorry for that.
Sorry,
Yeah, any questions in the meanwhile? I can take that, Jitu. Actually, I was trying to
no,
update
nothing.
this user. So actually, if the email ID is up with my custom email ID, so that the alert what actually comes to this user, I can show you. That's my only concern. Yeah, and in the meanwhile, any other questions?
Suresh, I have one question.
Yeah, Parul.
Suresh, I think I missed it. How did you connect that email, that bad job that you created? It isn't for a specific action, right? That bad job. So did you take that bad job's name and put it somewhere else? Because I didn't see
Not
that
at all.
part. How did
Not
you
at all. That's
connect
what I
that?
told you, right? that EC alerts and notification as a job, whatever I told you that we'll be running in the provisioning, okay, that will automatically pick up all the rules, whatever assigned in the success factors instance, with save alert as an event type against any portlet, against the save alert as an event type wherever you have a rule. So all these rules in the system will be executed at once whenever that background job is triggered. So every day at 12 o'clock in the afternoon when I trigger, so system will check against every portlet whatever are the rules present with this save alert as an event type. In that rule, whatever is the rule logic is there, as per that logic, where whatever documents are going to be expired, to whom it has to be notified, it will be sending all the emails.
So then, Suresh, what if we don't need, for example, this bad job we created was for daily triggers, right? Now, what if
Okay.
we have some business rules that we want to trigger probably weekly or, monthly, but they still fall under EC? Then how do we manage that?
No, I not get you. Can come again?
So what if we have rules, we have this job that you created is for daily alerts, right? Daily basis. It's
Okay.
going to run daily. So what if we have business rules where we don't want, a bad job, like a alert to trigger on or to be checked on a daily basis? What if we have
Sch-
something that to be sent on weekly or monthly basis?
Schedule
Do
it
we
for
have?
weekly. So when we are scheduling it, I've shown you the option. We have an option of when you choose recurring, you want it daily or weekly or monthly, you choose it.
But then it will change for all the business rules, right? For all the business
It is
rules, it
end
will
of the
become
day the logic. It is end of the day the logic. Even if you are triggering daily or weekly, in the business rule, next 10 days is what you are checking. Okay, when as per the current rule what I have written, it is checking whenever this rule got triggered in next 10 days, whatever is the expiry that is going to be planned, only for that it is going to send out an email for me. Got it? Weekly is basically about when should this alerts be sent out of the system, is basically the recurring schedule that we are saying, whether every day I have to check and send it or every weekly I'll go and check it. If it is weekly, if you have decided to go it only weekly basis, then in the business rules we will have a logic in such a way it's not only to check about the next 10 days, so next 10 days, 11 days, 12 days, 13 days, like that, from 10th day to 16th day from now, whatever are the alerts, for all that I'll be triggering the alerts at a time, in once in a week, in last in next 10th day to 16th day, how many are going to be expired, for all that I'll trigger at once. You can have a logic.
but we cannot have multiple jobs under EC alerts, right? We can
We
have
can
only one.
no, definitely you can trigger multiple, one with dailies, one with weekly, one with monthly, you can trigger it. Okay, so one where you have already maintained a daily, there is no purpose of going for weekly again in that case. Got it? And you have already have a daily thing that 365 days it is already triggering, then what is the necessity of going for weekly? Technically it will not stop you, it will trigger daily, and again on that 7th day one time daily thing will trigger, one time weekly thing will trigger, but technically it doesn't stop you, but purposefully if you have daily thing, other things are not required. Okay, but if you say once in okay, yearly if I keep it every yearly 1st of January, if I schedule like this, only 1st of January it will trigger. But apart from that, I again want something in another interval. So monthly, every 15th of the month also I want to trigger every monthly. Every year 1st of January it will trigger, but I also want every month 15th of that month also. So then here you can set again monthly 15th as one more thing you can say. So one background schedule is dealing with on January 1st to be triggered, and other background job schedule is dealing with every 15th of the month of all the 12 months to be triggered. Customers will come up with multiple cases. So on 1st of January, to whom you are triggering is to my HR of the company. 15th of every month, what you are triggering is to the employee respective reporting managers. Then you require it. Got it?
Yeah, I got it. But then how would you segregate which rule is being picked up by which job?
Every rule will be picked up with this job. Any rule that is connected with save alert will be picked up.
Okay.
The logic in that is what it matters. So whether you are writing it for the current date related, or 10 days from the current day, or 10 to 15 days from the current day, is what in the rule logic what you have given. For that it will be triggering.
Okay, got it. One more question, Suresh. Suresh, for this
Yes.
monitoring of these jobs also, so that means the customer, since they don't have access to provisioning, they can never
No,
monitor the job from.
monitor job. Everything that is going to be triggered through background in the provisioning will also be available in the monitor job section in the front end.
Okay, but we don't have creation of jobs in the front end, is it? In instance?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, got it.
I'll just even open that. Not sure why it's restricting me. Yeah, so now I just had a background refresh done. So my email ID has been assigned to this user. So now if we re-execute it in the provisioning, this time an email will also be sent, not only in the to-do list, to the email also will be sent to this user. Okay, so let me first open this monitor job thing. Okay, I guess I'm in the proxy of Adre King. She is not having the rights actually. It may become self. That's why I'm not able to show you the monitor job.
Suresh, I have a doubt.
Please.
Yeah, how can we set scheduling in multiple times in a day? We just saw daily, weekly, monthly, but multiple times in a day, is it possible?
Yeah, definitely. I'll just show you. Let me first show this monitor
And
job.
yeah,
So here in the background jobs, once that background level, whatever are being executed, they will be refreshed into this place. So it will just take some refresh time to reflect here. So whatever the provisioning level you are doing, all these things will even come up here. That's why you have a lot of list here. In front end, we don't do these many uploads. So what are all these various things, this much of log that we have? So 150 per page, various things is. So those provisioning related jobs related log also can be seen here on the front end under the monitor jobs. All that will be clubbed up, various things, all these things. These are not everything, not data loaded. So V4 admins, SF admins, these are all even automatically which are executing in the background. Even those will come up here. Okay. And then for the other question, daily related, if you want to have multiple slots, say example night 1 a.m. and you want 3 a.m., 5 a.m. like this, you can select it. If you want to select multiple row items, you just have to click on control key, multi-select. If you don't select control key, if you select one and key select three, one will be deselected. 5 means three will be deselected. But if you want multiple, just a control key, multiple selections, so that every 1 hour it will trigger. Or else if you remove 2 and 4, it's every 2 hours, 1, 3, 5 like this. You can keep on selecting. Exactly at every 1 hour 15 minutes, 2 hour 3 hour 15 minutes, 5:15 like that, then this minutes daily at 1:15,
okay.
15, 5:15 like that it will trigger. Okay.
Okay. And second question, you said that a mail will be sent to the owner of the job, right? But
Log.
in case of multiple, log will be mailed to the owner. But in case
Yeah.
of multiple times, if we don't want to set that, or we want to set only when there is a problem or error, only then mail should be sent. Is it possible?
That is where we can't have it. That is where even we as a consultants, whenever we keep our admins as a super admins in the provisioning background jobs, customer related log emails we keep on getting. So SF has not given an option to exclude that emails. At least the minimum job owner will definitely receive. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So they will also be defaulted user to receive email notifications. That's it. It's a default. Whoever you maintain as owner is a default user who will receive the notifications. We can't remove it.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
So let me just recap this, guys. So you have a okay, in this business rule, in this, if this business rule has to be written, one main point is, let me write this rule in front of you guys. You just have to choose the base object, the portlet. Apart from that, alert has one more object. So this is one of the rule I want to give you guys an idea where for one rule you can have two base objects. So how do you do that is, so if you're starting to create a new rule, create new rule. So normally go for the basic. You're going to write it on the work permit portlet. So the base object as work permit. Okay, and you are required to choose the work permit model, because that for that alert things all to work, the model version is required. The basic version level alerts and all can't be fit into it. So model version. So give some name to your rule. Go inside. So apart from only the alert related, so no, not alert, apart from the work permit related, if you want to have alert as one more object, so here in the then condition, in the previous rule we saw that we have an option of alert effective date, alert message, alert workflow. Like that we have called three things. So when the alert should be triggered, what should be the text to be triggered, to whom it should be triggered. So for that alert things to come here in the, we need one more parameter here. Just if you go for edit option here on the top right hand top, click on edit, add parameter. Here you have an drop down in which alert as an object. You just select this simple alert, choose this, and here also just type alert, alert, alert. That's it. Simply you can give the same code and name also as alert, alert, and the object as alert. Now this time when you want to try to write it, you can start writing the conditions on that. So you just have this alert, save this, and start writing the conditions. If work permit info model and its expiry date, if it is not equal to blank, not equal to null, and expression, add expression if expiry date is date plus. Here you have the functions, guys. We can make use of the different functions, and here functions are not yet loaded. Just a second. Functions are not yet loading, it's taking time. Anyways, so basically this is what I just want to show you guys, alert. So using alert as an one more object when you bring in, so when you are required to set here, so if you want to set here, apart from the workflow related objects, you have alert related object related fields also coming. What is the alert dot message, and one more expression, set again, what is the alert effective date when it should be triggered, that is today if I want to trigger. So today as a default function you will have it, and then one more expression to whom it has to be triggered. So that is the workflow object what you have set up, you are required to call that. So here alert dot workflow information, that whatever manager or whatever you created in the previous example, manager is the one we have selected. So for this alert dot message, alert dot effective, alert dot workflow to be coming up, this alert as a one more object we are required to call. Only for alerts configuration thing, this second object thing will basically come in. Okay, for rest of the things, for which portlet you are writing, for that portlet is the main base object, but here portlet level for validations and for alert configurations to work, this alert as a MDF object SFS standard given, you are required to call that with whatever if conditions. Whenever you want to trigger it, you can call it. Okay, so this is how the alert configuration will work, gentlemen. And so this here in the trigger rules, against save alert is where we are required to assign. So most commonly seen requirement for these alerts is, one is on the work permit portlet, another is on the job information portlet probation confirmation date. So whenever the employee probation confirmation date is approaching on that. So in the job info portlet, similar logic, whatever we have written on the expiration date, almost a similar logic you will write on the probation field. So you have this probation confirmation, probation period end date. So that on this field probation period end date you will write it, and in the bottom trigger rules under save alert, here also you can assign the rule probation related alert, whatever. Not sure if there is any alert rule. Yeah, it's not configured here. So we can, similar way, we can write a rule and assign it. So in any portlet, wherever there is a date, and if you want on that date alerts to be triggered, we will use it. But realistically, the examples, I mean, the requirements will be on these two portlets, work permit portlet, and in the job info, this particular field called the expiry, sorry, the probation end date. Okay. So this is with respect to the, actually due to this email ID not being synchronized, it got delayed. And in our session tomorrow, gentlemen, we'll be looking into the provisioning settings of this employee central module. So what all activations we are supposed to do for this particular module of employee central in the provisioning. And after that, in the instance side permissioning for the different permissions for user level, employee level, manager level, whatever permissions you want to give. So EC related, what are the RPP permissions we have? So that thing we are required to look. So both the provisioning settings and permissioning will target in the tomorrow's session. Okay. Anybody has any questions?
Yeah, Suresh, I have one question.
Yeah, please, Rashmi.
What if we want to change the owner name? So we need to again go in provisioning system and change the owner name.
Yeah, definitely. If its owner has to be changed, it will go for you. The only option you have is in the provisioning. Where once you assign an owner, you will never get a requirement to make any changes. Okay, particularly only for the purpose of email notifications. If you want to change, only then you are supposed to. So then the option is in the provisioning, whoever have the access to the provisioning, so that is the support team only. So anyways, customer will not have it. So the support team has to help them to delete the existing provisioning job and recreate a provisioning job. You can't even edit it. You are required to delete that previously scheduled job and recreate a job with a different email ID. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Fine, gentlemen. So let's again connect back same time tomorrow and see into the provisioning settings. Thank you one and all. Have a nice evening.